AJ, welcome.
Thank you. You got a nice setup in here. I'll
Yeah,
give
you
it you.
like it?
Yeah, I do like it actually. I was looking at the lights. I was like, I think I need to upgrade some things.
Well, you do you do so much stuff, don't you, production-wise? You've been in the brightest lights.
Yeah.
Strictly must be fierce.
Now them lights are bright and hot, but it keeps you on your toes and it keeps you awake. That's for sure.
Big time, big time. And it must be intense. We'll come to that. But who is AJ Pritchard?
It's such a vague overall question, and I've kind of been thinking about it. It's funny you say that. It's like I've kind of been throughout my career. AJ Pritchard, most people know me as a professional dancer on Strictly Come Dancing. But as the years have kind of prevailed, I've pretty much done every single TV show in the UK, which is mad when I think of it. The only one that people keep telling me I need to do is Traitors, which I've still never watched, which people even more.
Super popular right now.
I know, I need to watch it as a thing. But at the same time, like for me, it's always been about business. I love growing businesses and really kind of seeing them kind of evolve.
Proper entrepreneur in you.
Yeah, because like as a dancer on Strictly, as a celebrity, I'm the professional. I get to teach somebody. You get to see somebody actually see that journey from beginning where that literally happiness of like forward, side, close. And you can, it's like they've conquered the world. It's like they've literally made the best thing ever. And for me, it's about how can I do that same journey, but in a business mentality and really help people.
There's a competitiveness to you. There has to be, to have the success you've had, not just in the whole of your career, but actually as a dancer. But you brought up how it felt to nurture and help your dance partner in that scenario. That's mentoring. That's giving back. That's leadership.
I think for me, it's always about like, if you can put yourself in their shoes, how would you want that experience to go? And for me, it's always about like, I got asked this question the other week, and it was like, well, why did you do different TV shows, or why did you stop Strictly at that point in your life? Well, actually, for me, it was about I want to learn, I want to grow as a person, I want to understand who I am actually am. I want to focus on other opportunities that there's only so much time in the day, and you kind of really have to be like, okay, what can I physically get done and mentally get done? And actually, how am I going to achieve that? And it's about learning and understanding who you are. Because I did Strictly as the youngest professional ever. I think it was the age, I think I was like 19 going on 20.
And how old are you now?
I'm now 30. Time
You've
flies.
packed a lot in.
Yeah, quite a bit when I think about it. But at the same time, like I came off the back of representing the world, being #1 in the world at ballroom and Latin, and then going straight into TV, like literally the day after. And I never changed that competitive mentality, and I will never change that for the whole of my life, because I feel like that's what allows you to kind of achieve things. People are always like, well, are you happy because you stopped Strictly or because you did other stuff? And I'm like, as long as I'm putting my time and energy into a project or a sport or whatever it is, I'm happy because then I'm focused on something.
That's interesting because you had a goal when you were, and the hours you must have put in to become the best dancer.
Obscene hours.
And there's a goal there, right? So, and I've listened and sort of watched a few things about you, and you know that visualization element as well fascinates me. So you were closing your eyes and you were imagining yourself. So it's not just the physical training; you literally manifested it with mental kind of stimulation as well. To then be in a position where you're sort of in a position where not on Strictly, but doing other things that don't necessarily have a goal, don't have the competitive element to it. So you bring that. I feel like you're sort of almost your own boss with that, where you give yourself accountability, which is probably why you enjoy business so much. You know, I know we're sort of mid-afternoon on a weekday filming now. I asked you what you've been doing for your day, and it's been meetings. And you feel your
day.
Yeah. But that's interesting, because there are certain people that certain amount of what they do is enough for them. It feels like your schedule, your days are super busy, filled with quite multifaceted things.
It comes down to the simple fact, and I think it's kind of, I try not to overcomplicate things, whether it be life, business, politics, whatever it is. Just make it simple. And the simpler you make something, the easier it is to achieve it. But at the same time, the one thing that I feel quite blessed in the aspect of, we'll take myself and my brother. We are siblings, we've been brought up identical in every single manner. I am somebody who can self-motivate myself. I can literally sit at home on my own. I don't need somebody on my back. I can set a task, whether it be today or tomorrow, short term, long term. I love that I can self-motivate myself. My brother has to have somebody like, okay, we're going to be here, we're going to do this, I'm going to do a little check up on you this week just to check that you haven't done something you shouldn't do, or you have achieved that goal. And I think like that's the kind of the secret to it, because therefore you feel like you get the maximum out of your days, your hours. And when it comes down to most things, I find if you are trying to achieve a goal and I love to visualize it. Even in a business mind, like we break it down to quarters, we break it down to socials, whatever it may be. If you're trying to go into this meeting we're talking today, there's probably going to be a synergy of another business or somebody that can help somebody else that within our networks. And I can never close them doors down. Sometimes I maybe need to close 1 or 2 of them doors, but at the same time, that's what's allowed me to get all of my opportunities I have today. It's never been like a singular line. There's always parallel lines. You always spin all them plates. It's like, well, this plate's going to take 10 years to really mature. This one can be an instantaneous, like, I'm going to sell something today, or I'm going to sell myself. I find that that's what people kind of hate to do, but I love that.
Oh, I can relate to that massively. And actually that multiple income stream, which is what you're talking about, and you know, the 10-year slow burner, but if it comes off, it's amazing. Whereas the short term, this puts the sort of food on the table, if you like, is probably a pretty smart way to be.
Well, for me as a dancer, I've always trained myself I started dancing really late. I was 11, 12. My competitors were 3, 4 when they started.
Where did inspiration come to start dancing?
It's so random. It's like, I want to go on TV. I was like 11 years old. I was like, oh, I want to go on TV now. And
do you remember why? Do you remember something that you saw on TV?
I just want to go on TV. I didn't even care how I'd get there. And there was an opportunity. My dad is a dancer. And within the dance school, they said, we need some young kids to do baby ballroom. As a pilot show, never made air, thank God. It's hidden in the basement of the BBC somewhere, never to be seen, thankfully. Well, I said, well, I'll learn how to dance then. How hard can it be? Did awful, absolutely crying my eyes out. But the next day, I think mum and dad were hoping that after all them tears, like, I'm not going to do this as a career. And I went, I love it. Let's go for it. But the thing is for me, if I'm going to do it, I said, well, I want to be number 1 in the world. And I was like, well, what do I need to do? Well, we're just going to train, we're going to do it, and we're going to keep going. Like, that path is a 10-year path. Like, for me, the slow, steady wins, competitions every single weekend, training every single day, them small wins, people only see like, oh, you've won. But all them small wins for me were the most important things, whether it be, as I said, forward, side, close. It's easy for somebody to visualize that. And then we go on to the next one, and it snowballs and it keeps going.
Interesting, because that's age 11 years old.
Yeah.
You think about how many distractions from that age creeping into teenage years. Drinking, drugs, all sorts of stuff that could. But I guess the discipline that you brought to yourself, let alone the fact that you had that visualization to be number 1 in the world, kept you clear of all those things. Am I right in saying that?
I think also it's the mentality of like, well, I feel like them sacrifices, which people would class as big things, the pop parties, sleeping over here, doing this, like, let's have a month's holiday if we can do it. Like, for me, well, what's the point? I can do that in the future when I've achieved my goal.
It's a very mature way of looking at it.
It's always long term in my head.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm sitting with someone who's 30. And that is a huge compliment to you, because that mental kind of mindset that sort of bred a behavior, if you like, and habits from such a young age, it's really, really kind of key attributes for business. You know, the discipline to get yourself up, get yourself going. I mean, you know, I met Curtis. To be fair, I met him at Ideas Fest. So he was in a good environment, right? But you know, some people need that. They need someone to push them, tell them where to be. It feels like you literally, you know, you might feel you're spinning a lot of plates, but you're choosing to, and it feels also like you know when to drop them, and when to focus on. So I just want to cover that. So it's really cool. So you wanted to be on TV. You then become number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
How did you make Strictly happen?
The opportunity to dance and travel to the highest level, we had outside sponsorship. Fundamentally, she paid for dance lessons and for me to travel to America and compete and have lessons. When I say the numbers, it's painful. Like, we used to pay, I think for 40 minutes, like £200 back then, 10 years ago, like a teenager. And they would be like, well, you need to book 10 hours with us, don't you? Like, to make sure it's beneficial. Then you need to come to LA, or you need to come. It was like, numbers were a lot of money. So we couldn't afford to do that the way we want to get them 1 in the world. Thankfully, a sponsor allowed us to do that. Unfortunately, she passed away. And it was a shock passing. It was literally like speaking to her 1 week, next week, getting an answering machine. What's wrong? PA has literally said she's unfortunately passed away. And the lady, Teresa Kerr, who allowed us to get to that point, I think she would have wanted me to take the opportunity of Strictly. And I said no to it 3 times. And they said, no, we really want you. And I went, well, I'm 20 years old. Why not? if I love it, I can keep doing it.
Why did you say no? Because you wanted to be on TV. And
Because
that's like, what were you imagining? Because Strictly's
at
like,
that point, I was like, I'd done the little thing. I got to number one, and I wanted to keep going. I was like, this is my life. This is like my roots here. TV is over here. Like, these are not even in this at this point in this competitive mentality. Like, when somebody's so competitive and so driven, like, it's very hard to remove the blinkers and be like, there is a bigger world out there. You can maybe focus on it. And I think that was the reason why I chose to do Strictly. Really open up my eyes, and thankfully I did. I loved it. I got to meet fantastic.
you could tell
people.
you loved it.
I still love it right now. And the irony is, somebody said this to me the other day. It's like, I'm 30 now. The new pros coming in to do the show are like 35, 36. It's like,
So you know what my next question is, don't you? Would you?
I would. You know what? I've never really said that in the same mentality. I would go back. I would. I love it. Like, for me.
Why would you not? You loved it.
Why would I not? Like,
Show's still popular.
exactly. And I think it's really important. Like, people think you make decisions for, people kind of get in their heads more so than the person's heads. Why have you made a decision? Is it because of money, or is it because of something else? At that age, I think I just wanted to grow. Like, I've done.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah. And
Could you see yourself, and I use the word comfortable. It seems like you seek new challenges.
I'm a stickler for putting myself, you know, when there's an easy road and you're like, why didn't I just take the easier road? Like,
Because you were proper, you know.
yeah.
I remember watching it, and my two daughters who are now teenagers, you know, you were obviously a favourite. And I just probably mentally thought you'd be doing this forever. But actually, fair play to you, knowing you now, having this conversation, seeking that challenge, and actually that whole, there's an expression, the comfort zone is where dreams go to die.
Yeah.
You can become stale. There's a resilience to you where you are doing lots of different things that actually keeps you very relevant, very current, very stimulated. Whereas if you just focus on one thing and pays well, there's glorification through fame and so on,
Yeah.
dopamine hit, actually may not be the best thing for you.
I think kind of, it's funny, you nobody's ever put it in that way. And I really like the way that you've kind of positioned that in that aspect. And I think you understand it because the longevity of creating a business or something that can be worth something, whether that be financially or spiritually, whatever it is for you, because people are on different journeys in this world. Like, that long, hard, it's going to be harder to reach. It's so much worth it, more worth it even when you get there. But at the same time, when somebody says that, I'm like, yeah, of course I can go back. Yeah, I love it. I'm still dancing. I still dance every week, to be honest. Do fitness, still keep fit. I still look pretty young. People are like, what? You're like 30? Like, you look like, get stopped at the door every time I go for dinner at Estelle Manor. Like, it's crazy.
Take it. I've just turned 48. You're not getting.
You're looking good. What are you on about?
Sympathy from me.
No, you look good.
No, take it. And you look good from the twinkle in your eye as well, because you are clearly fulfilled. You know, you're clearly getting a challenge out of what you're doing. And I think one of the things I admire, we're talking briefly off camera, is you are looking at, you've looked at what you enjoy, things you enjoy doing, and then you tried to build businesses around it. So supercars, driving.
Yeah.
I saw you didn't see me, but I saw you at Carfest. You had a helmet on and you were flying up in some fast car. And that's exciting. I want to know how you made that happen, because now listening to how you got into dancing Strictly, was there a connection with Chris Evans? You know, what made that happen? And then how exciting is it for next year?
Yeah, when it comes down to cars, like, I'm just a petrol head. I just love cars. I love everything about it, like the feeling, the roar, the excitement. And in the future, like, I would love a massive car collection. Thankfully, I'm quite in a fortunate position that lots of my friends have very nice cars.
Use theirs instead of yours. Yeah, great position to be in.
100%. And Carfest itself, the opportunity was fantastic family festival aimed at charities, children's charities, to really help so many people globally.
So much more than the name suggests, right?
That I asked, why do you call it Carfest? Like, because it's not just cars. They said, well, cars, we get the dads there. Then the families realised it's actually a family festival. I'm like, oh, actually quite smart when you think of it like that.
Yeah.
But no, we got the opportunity to kind of be the roving reporters and fill in for Chris Evans on the main stage, myself and Curtis, it's just a great festival. Everybody is there.
Great vibe.
Is so happy, so positive, there for the right reasons, zero hassle. And actually, once that whole festival, you've kind of got 35, 40,000 people each day there. Once they've removed the whole festival, the land is cleaner than it was before. this does not exist when you see like Reading, Leeds, Glastonbury. They're
Trashed.
left like absolute holes. It's obscene. But there you can tell that people really are going for the right reasons. And it's not very often you see that.
No.
And that's why
I like knowing that. Sustainable.
it very
Yeah.
much so. And they are honestly on the backside of everything that's done behind the scenes. It's very sustainable and it's done for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But now the fantastic news, as you said, is that it's going from Lavstock Park Farm was a fantastic place, but now they are, I'm going to say it, leveling up even more so to Silverstone for 2026. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Well, I mean, you're going to be able to jump in some pretty cool kit and let loose. Because, I mean, I saw the loop at this year's Car Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was small, right?
The loop is restricting,
Yeah.
but then again, you can't get too fast, so you can't destroy too many hay bales. Some people do. But yeah, at Silverstone, it'll be very good to get super high level cars, people. And I think historically, like you kind of just, you get that essence in your heart. Like even for us, like it's Car Fest, it's fundamentally 7 festivals within one. And even for our brand, Fintinvest, like we are going to expand what we do there. So we're on the education for financial literacy and education. Like we want to expand what we're doing because it's like our brand, Silverstone, Car Fest. It just elevates everybody.
Nice meshing together there of different kind of mission-led things that you enjoy, which goes back to that twinkle in your eye. You know, you're pursuing things that give you purpose and you enjoy, which is, for me, an inspiration.
I think it's value as well. Like people kind of say like there's so many easy options of like, here's a product, sell it, you personally do well and other people maybe don't do so well. And I think that mentality in this short, quick social media world right now is being kind of not idolized maybe, but it's definitely being glorified in a way that it's quite upsetting. And I think like when you have the opportunity to have a platform, this is the one thing that myself and my brother, and especially our mums always said, if you have a platform, you have the responsibility to help people or at least be a role model on that side. So one thing we've always made sure is like, if we're going to do something, it has to bring value to everybody. Well, what's the point in doing it?
Fair play to you. Because that's managing ego. There's a real responsibility to that. And you know, again, as a dad to 2 daughters who have grown up around social media, you know, no different. Whereas
yeah,
probably it was always there for you, but it's elevated and amplified.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I grew up without it. To then looking in, I would call you a role model, and I already thought that before we sat down together. Right now, like you are someone I will go and talk to other people about. For you know, if I could have been like you at 30 with the mindset, the way you think, and the way you behave, and the way you put out what you do, using that sort of reference to social media, where the wrong role models for some reason seem to. So we talked about supercars, right?
yeah,
we both love cars, but there's people that use that with the sort of memo of success to then get all the wrong messages across, which you wouldn't do, you know, and you're not doing. And I just wondered if you see yourself as a role model, and if, you know, that sort of almost crisis that we clearly have, the Lost Boys report that the Centre for Social Justice put together, highlighting this crisis of identity in particularly young lads, and then gravitating to wrong models. Do you feel that, and in a good way, a pressure that you are someone in the public eye who is achieving and has achieved a lot as a role model?
I don't think I'd say maybe the role model. That's very kind of you to say that. Thank you.
I mean it.
But I think one thing that for me is kind of being like, well, it's really easy to fall into the bad scenarios of life, and I think it's even more so easy now that like the temptation is literally in your phone 24/7. You can't get away from it. But I think if you can work hard and spread love and happiness, and I think that's really important, especially in the world right now when it feels so negative. And one of the other companies I do a lot of work with and I've used their app forever, it's called We Are 8, and that app is fundamentally fighting back against the one thing that you kind of were hinting towards or didn't actually say, is that all we are to Mark Zuckerberg is $450. All he wants is retention. And the retention, unfortunately, comes through negative news articles and stories. Negativity is always going to get more clicks, unfortunately. It's just it's the way we're being programmed. And if you really look into the real detail on a business side, not to get too deep, like BlackRock, Larry Fink, like their actual model is how do you program a country, a generation, to get from A to B to best suit their interests. Negativity achieves that very quickly.
It's really insightful, that.
And I think that's kind of a scary world. And I think when it comes down to governments in each area, if you look at each territory, certain governments ban apps like TikTok, and that's because of the mental health crisis. Like if you allow people to have an app like We Are 8, which each user is verified, 0 bots, comments, videos are processed through AI, they can register 250 million videos a day and remove any negativity. And if there was a negative comment, removed. And if somebody is to put something on there which goes against the guidelines, they can report that person to the police because they've got your information. You're a verified user.
There's boundaries, there's protection.
There's boundaries, and they're doing it for the right reason. And I think there are really strong, powerful, good people out there putting their own time, money, and capital like into these projects. And I think this is the time now for them to do very well in this world, because it's a scary world out there.
It is a scary world, and again, this maturity you've got at 30 to explain that, but also to have your own journey of being very, very sort of publicly known for certainly a decade. And in that time, you have had your own social media. You will have had people that have applauded you and been positive, and there will have been people that have tried to bring you down.
Yeah.
And bringing up, like you said, mental health. How have you managed that? How have you, because there's again such a strength to you, but at any one time you read stuff, you hear stuff.
Yeah.
How have you kind of stayed above anything that you've read and seen as a criticism, regardless of how it's been intended, and sort of kept that mental health side of you
I feel like
intact and
you're
strong?
gonna laugh at this. I feel like after everything that I say that's quite business and high level, when it comes down to social media, I don't read comments. I just don't.
Is that your way of protecting yourself?
It's my way of protecting myself. Like I
Smart.
feel like if I read it, as we all know, you have thousands of comments. You're always going to remember the negative ones, and the ones that hurt are the ones you're going to remember. So I just don't read it. That's my protection. And then when it comes down to news articles, it sounds even more vain. It's not meant to be in a vain manner. I just say, oh, is it a nice photo? Did they use a good photo from a good press article or something?
Which undermines your intelligence, actually.
And
But I get it. I get what
just
you're
like,
yeah.
Okay, nice photo. What was the headline? Okay, don't need to anything else. My life's going good. My things are good. I know my position. I know my close family. But at the same time, I should highlight when I first did Strictly, close family, and I mean close family, were like, is this true? I've just read this. I'm like, none of it is. Rewind. If there's something, just pick up the phone, speak to me. Like, you don't take it as gospel.
Fair play. So that's the social media element to it. At any one time, a lot of people would be able to call out a very successful career to date. But along the way, you're going to have knocks. You're going to have things that haven't gone right. So just that side of you, how you deal with the things that haven't gone right, the failures?
I think it comes down to a big learning curve for me personally. As you can probably tell, like I try and do everything myself.
Like, it's very self-sufficient.
It's impossible for that to work in the long term, especially when you're growing a company, a team, a support system around you. You can't do it yourself. You go to failure and you burn out. And I think through some things that have happened in my life, when accidents have happened, and I've been in a situation where I've been like, no, I'm not going to speak to a psychiatrist, or I'm not going to accept help. I've tried to do that until the point where like you just break, to the point of like having to go to hospital, to being like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't see. I've got a migraine, but it doesn't feel like a migraine. To the point they like, I think we need to do a lumbar puncture. To the point of being like, actually, I just need to speak to somebody. And I think that
you recognise that. That's the bit I'm picking up on. There's an intelligence there, because some people that confuses them, overwhelms them, it breaks them, and then it creates other mental health challenges.
Yeah.
At that point, you recognise it and embraced it.
Yeah, and I think like my protection on the side, I did speak to someone. It honestly, it changed my perspective, and it really did help me. And in the same way, as a kind of, you learn a coping mechanism or something that's going to help you, whatever that is for you. If it's like unfortunately there was a fire sort of thing, an accident, and like, so whenever I saw fire, like I couldn't deal with it, didn't know how to deal with it. There's like flashback sort of mentality is the easiest way to explain it. But then it's like, how do you find something that works for you on that side? But then at the same time, I know that I've got that lady's number in my phone, that if I ever feel like it gets to that point again, but as soon as I think about her phone number there, I've instantly thought about the positives that we did when we spoke about it, and that's easily like calmed me back down.
So you may not even need to ring her.
No,
You go
it's
through
just
the
knowing that it's there. And I think that's one thing that's really important, is knowing that help is there, whether it be your close family or somebody you spoke to in the past or whatever it may be. It's just knowing that the mechanism is there, is this all the safety net that most people will need.
Really...
And then if you fall through that, then you obviously need to take that phone call, book it in.
Of course. But there's real strength in the fact that what you're saying is it's going through the journey of having gone to seek help, gone to then get the help,
Yeah.
and then knowing the next time you might need it. Actually, you may not need to go as far because you've built that habit, and then you
Yeah,
get the
100%.
positive vibes. Sitting here now, what is your definition of success?
As a very OCD dyslexic person, like achieving that small goal, forward side close, I've succeeded in that one. But I have multiple levels of success that I want to do and grow companies and do other things. So every success that I've done, I'm happy. But I haven't reached that ultimate, like, this is what I want. But I'm the sort of person who'll never reach that.
I love that. So really, there's a whole enjoyment and appreciation of the journey. And that sort of, using your analogy, whereby that makes you feel good, gives you fulfillment. But there's also a very driven, ambitious AJ. So you've got these business interests, use that analogy where you've got the 10-year, the short, that's an empire. So that's a bit too overarching, but is there something that you would really like to achieve?
I think my biggest success is just being happy. I've got a fiance, we're about to plan a wedding. And I think, like, for me in that side.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's like, I maybe never thought that I'd be that happy in a weird way, because I've always like got to get the next thing. Like, that is my, like, I can decompress, I can relax, I can be stupid and goofy and whatever the hell. And like, I think that's really important when everything can be quite serious. It's good just to be able to have that person that you can just be yourself around. And that is probably one of my biggest successes. It sounds like a business term, but you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
It's just like, people, you see people, and I see people that are very fortunate and have everything in the world. And I mean everything, but they just don't seem that happy.
I think you've articulated a bit of it, because there's a contentment with you without it being an ego, an arrogance, and where there are some people that clearly from the outside could look like they've got all sorts of financial trappings, and there's a hollowness. You're a pleasure to talk to, AJ. I'm excited for where you're going as well, and I'm curious to see whether you ever go back to Strictly as well, because it's sort of entwined in your DNA, and you sort of smile when you think. So we'll see. But I could talk to you long. We've run out of time. But I hope you've enjoyed talking.
Would you do Strictly? That's the question.
I'm a terrible dancer.
That's why you're going to have a great journey.
Oh, I see. I know Chris Robshaw. And,
yeah.
I've been watching, the last few weeks. And,
what was your opinion? Should he have gone out, or should he stay?
Do you know? I'm going to have to admit this. I've watched every one except the one he went out.
Oh.
So I've only read and seen and messaged him, but what I picked up on was a guy that was, in my opinion, someone that put himself right out of his comfort zone.
Oh, properly.
So that's like, I can identify with that. So fair play to him. You could see he'd started to really enjoy it. And I felt like he had loads of people behind him.
Yeah.
Amazing dance partner. So I was like, actually, I missed that one without any thought that he'd be the one that would go out.
He looked so happy.
That's the point. And he was lovely.
Him, and when his kids were in the studio and the VT, like, that happiness, I voted for him. Him and Nadia, they're great, and they, in my opinion, shouldn't have gone out. Like, they should have stayed in.
Well, I share that, obviously, but it's interesting.
I was like at the TV, not in week 4 usually. I was like at the TV. I was like, what?
And I felt like he was building. He was flourishing. His nerves were dropping. So hey,
but the quality of his lifts. I know he's strong, and sometimes people look strong, but they can't actually do it. Like, the quality of them lifts, stability-wise, and Nadia's a tall girl. I know he's a strong guy, but exceptional.
You'd be an amazing judge on Strictly. You would, because you've got that history of actual dance being number one, being on, and you've got this lovely maturity and perspective.
Hey, we'll cut that up. I'll take that.
100%. Yeah, you heard it here. AJ, thank you.
Honestly, no, thank you very much. Loved it.